Actually, scary horror animes are extremely hard to find. It's not about cheap jump scares or gore scenes, it's about the unsettling atmosphere. Most animes don't get it right, but some are great. I'm gonna show you 3 animes that I genuinely find scary, and the last one is literally traumatizing. I guarantee you will be scared while watching these, so I won't spoil anything important for you to enjoy them. Don't skip this anime because of its looks, because it's actually one of the scariest anime ever made. In the summer of 1983, the small village of Hinamizawa welcomes a new resident, Keiichi Maebara. After 1 month, he became close friends to his schoolmates and he spends his days playing with them. One day, Rena asks him to help her find treasures at the garbage dump. While waiting for her, he meets Tomitake, a freelance photographer. He wonders what Rena is doing in this unusual place, and Keiichi jokingly responds that she may be checking out on the corpse she chopped up. The photographer looks surprised before telling him that it was a horrible crime and that one arm was still missing. Keiichi is shocked. He can't realize what Tomitake just told him. What was supposed to be a joke turned out to be a horrible crime. When Rena comes back, he tries to ask her if something happened here, but as soon as he finished his question, she quickly answers that she doesn't know anything. The next day, he asks Mion if crimes happened at Hinamizawa. Again, she immediately stops walking and answers that nothing happened. Then, he joins Rena in the garbage dump. She needs an axe to dig out this KFC door, so she left him. While she's away, Keiichi finds old newspapers talking about the horrible murder at the village. The person was lynched and hacked into pieces, his body cut into 6 parts, and the worst thing, one of the murderers is still on the loose. This episode finishes with Rena returning from her home, holding in her hands a big cleaver. This is Higurashi When They Cry, a very well-known horror anime that will always be one of my favorites. What makes this anime scary is that it starts with a very grim scene with Keiichi murdering Rena and Mion in his dreams. And then the ambience is really creepy too. It starts with cute characters and cute activities, and then the more the main character learns something, the more it shifts to horror. The opening is so spooky too. This is not the kind of song you want to hear at 2 AM when you're alone in your bed in the dark. This anime has great immersion. You can really get into the character's head. The character getting crazier really adds a scary part to the story, and you can feel the distress of the main character when experiencing all of these very spooky scenes. Also, the feeling of discovering what's going on is exciting, but it feels like a slope, like the more you watch the show and the more it's getting darker and darker. Okay, so this was the first anime I wanted to cover, and let me remind you that the last one is traumatizing, so be sure to watch until the end of this video. But before that, chances are that you missed this recent horror series most people consider the most legitimate scary anime. Keitaro was in middle school when he experienced a terrible supernatural incident. A powerful spirit cursed him and his friend. Since then, spirits are attracted to him. That's why he spent 2 years living in a shut-in lifestyle so he wouldn't hurt anyone else. After getting enough courage to live a normal life, he managed to catch up with school and enter college. To practice his social skills, his childhood friend Eiko recommended him to become a private tutor. This is when he will meet Yayoi, Eiko's cousin. As soon as he sees her, he feels an unbearable dark aura coming from her. Even though she's 10, she scares him with her double pupil eyes. They allow her to see spirits and the real world at the same time. That's why she could sense Keitaro's curse in his right hand. Since the death of her parents from an accident, Yayoi is searching the powerful spirit that kidnapped her mother's soul to exorcise it. Then she asks him to go to a haunted place where a young woman was murdered in a phone booth. When they inspect the place, Keitaro is able to sense the darkness inside and decides that he'll be the one to call it. After seeing the manifestation of the spirit, they decide to flee. The group returns the next day, but then Keitaro suddenly gets trapped in the phone booth. Yayoi breaks in and frees him by exorcising the spirit. Or so it seemed. When they come back home, Eiko tells Keitaro that even though he claims he doesn't like supernatural, he had a huge grin on his face when he was calling the spirit. The episode ends with Yayoi putting the spirit in her room, next to dozens of other evil spirits, tearing it down in a horrific scene. Dark Gathering is an anime with a really creepy ambience. The contrast between the cute characters and the comedy scenes with the horrible murders, the ghost stories, and the spooky music was very well done. But the worst part for me was the faces. There's the creepiest faces I've ever seen in anime. It's actually a lot more sinister than it looks. You know there's something super weird, and there's so much more going on. You can't help but you want to know more about what's going to happen. The characters will visit many places with different spirits every time, so there are a lot of different dark stories. This is a recent anime released in 2023, and I found it really cool and actually scary. So I'm pretty glad I discovered it not too long ago. Finally, let's talk about one of the most disturbing anime I've ever seen. Mima Kirigoe is a pretty famous idol from the group Jam. Her agent strongly recommended her to leave the group and become an actress in a TV series. She announces her decision in her last show, and this will leave many fans disappointed. Some fans will even feel betrayed, and one will start to stalk her. Mima gets a very small role at first, but her agent convinced the producers to give her a bigger one. But this one will completely break her pure idol image, as it contains extremely hard to watch scenes. At this moment, Mima is developing psychosis. She doesn't know who she truly is, the idol or the actress. She starts getting visions and loses reality. And at the same time, the stalker becomes more and more dangerous. Perfect Blue is an anime different from the ones I just showed you. It's not about ghosts or mysteries, but it relies on psychological horror. Trigger warning, there are many shocking essay scenes in this anime, so be careful. This movie will stay in your head for a few days after you watched it, and even then, you will remember it. It shows the terrifying stalking incidents some idols have experienced, and it's so scary. I really wouldn't want to become an idol just for this. And also, we can see the sinister side of the film industry and how it changes Mima. Also, the psychosis of the main character leads to confusing scenes, just like what the main character is living. We don't know what's true or not, and it's really well done. If you're still confused after the end of the movie, I recommend you to watch this video. Please tell me if you saw this movie. Did it scare you? For me, it was really a disturbing anime. So now you know 3 actually scary horror animes, but I didn't tell you where you can watch them. You might be wasting your money on Crunchyroll if you don't know what you're subscribing to. Click on this video to know what the Crunchyroll experience is like.